giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! What's happening, people? We're picking up our hindsight series. You see it. Talking about the edge rusher position. It's a tricky one, y'all. It's a tricky one. It's very sneaky in the sense of the results, in the sense of the potential need. We'll cover all of that. But we're going to review it from top to bottom, all the way from a rookie to the all-pro. Stay tuned for that. In a roundup, Jerry spoke, but this time he spoke about the DC search and why he's not worried about the unknown in regards to grabbing one of these guys. And if you really listen, it's still problematic, but it is what it is. Good morning, Cowboys Nation. How are we doing, man? Bomb squad, I should say. You know, hey, Kelvin Hicks, I almost started this thing off with some wrestling talk after Monday Night Raw yesterday, but I need to get the podcast because I got some things I want to say about what's happening out here in these streets. But if Adam Cole comes back, Adam Cole, baby. Look, come on, man. That's my guy. I'm kind of mad he left, but I'm a WWE guy. I'm not an AEW guy, but I respect the business in general. But I'd love for Adam Cole to come back, man. But well, that's again. That is a wrestling podcast talk at some point in this busy life of mine. If I get it there, I got you. But it's going to be tough, man. I know Brother L. It's going to be tough. But we got Cowboys talk today. And like I said, this edge position is really tricky because we came into the season, at least I did. I'm not going to speak for y'all. I came into the season high expectations, not just individually, but from a entire unit standpoint. And I think they were not met, honestly. And we'll break it all down. And I'm going to tell you why I think this position, again, is a very sneaky one moving forward as we continue to break this down. And everybody mad at The Rock, man. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. And the fact that they mad at him, I hope he come back and he's Hollywood Rock. But again, wrestling pod. Let's hit this roundup. Talk this Cowboys. Oh, y'all can call into the show again. 351-999-3787. Easy show today. I don't foresee this thing being complicated. Y'all know how we do with the hindsight series. We're gonna break it all down. Here we go.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
Ooh, that's a crazy name.
It's time. It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Hey, Vance. From Vance Refrigeration. That's a crazy podcast name, bro. The Steel Cage Podcast with Will Steele. Hey, dog, listen. I might have to give you, like, some royalties for that name if I roll with that. Just saying. Like I said, Jerry spoke at the FIFA World Cup thing. I don't know what's going on down there with that. I know they lost out on the actual World Cup finals, you know. And see, that's the thing about this team and about the stadium. And I get it, man. He's a billionaire. He's got to make his bread. But this ain't about football. Ain't really about it for real. But they asked him about some of the football things and if he was worried about a potential coach wanting to be a coordinator here because of the quote-unquote lame duck season. And this is what Jerry had to say. He said, quote, "I don't anticipate that being an issue at all. If they take the job, they will be coordinator for the Cowboys. They would be looking at the right. They would be looking at that right there and all that goes with it. if they're aspiring, they know there's a chance to be a head coach someplace because that one that just left is. Boy, he's not lying in that the star, I get it, but he think this star is like godsend or something, man. You know? Let's just be honest here. If you are good at your job with any of these teams in the National Football League nowadays, you're going to be up for a head coaching gig. The most obscure coaches are getting interviews. Like, let's go back a couple seasons. Mike McDaniels was a run game coordinator. He wasn't even a offensive coordinator. Run game coordinator turned head coach because they had success. So, Jerry, it's not about the logo. Nah, man, maybe for a player because, you know, you can do endorsements and all that stuff. But even then, I seen a guy in Cleveland get a hell of endorsements and their team was trash. But as a coach, I don't think it's about the logo anymore, man. I don't know if it ever was, but it's definitely not about the logo. It's about the success that you have with said organization. So you can spew that to these reporters all you want. We're in this situation right now because we kind of sat in our hands instead of making a move, growing some kahunas, or how you say, y'all, cojones, growing some cojones, and saying we're going to get rid of this coach or that coach so we can get in front of this search. You sat on your hands and said, hey, you know what? Go out here and trick for them. Go ahead, DQ. Go do your thing, brother. We'll sit here. We'll wait for you. We'll be right back here for you, man. Next thing you know, 3 weeks go by. Every other head coaching job is filled. Every other defensive coordinator job is filled. And now you're left. Of course you're left with guys that will say, oh, I don't care about lame duck. I'm not worried about that. Give me that job. This is the one job left of 32 in the world. Yeah, I'll take that job, Jerry. But you know, I don't get it. I know I can't be in these rooms because I push back on stuff and they kick me right on out. You know how they did Killer Mike the other day? There's Skywalker asking those damn questions again. Get him up out of here. He also was asked about Dan Quinn getting a head coaching job, and he said, I felt ultimately 2 years ago that Dan wanted a head coaching job. You felt that 2 years ago. So it doesn't surprise me that he's landed a head coaching job. I couldn't look at a crystal ball and see what direction that might go back then. I mean, he'd be talking to bro. But it doesn't surprise me. The fact that he's got head coaching credentials and been to a Super Bowl. Yeah, Jerry, we knew that too. Now, I'm not going to crush him for this, but I'm just thinking ahead, right? Like when he interviewed for a head coaching job 2 years ago, in my head, right? I'm kind of preparing for that. Maybe we groom a guy, or maybe we keep our eyes and ears plugged on what's going around the league. I don't know whose job it is to keep tabs on these coaches. I do know during the regular season, y'all keep tabs on the league because you stole some things. Y'all know me. I'm shiesty. I'm stealing. I'm stealing coaches. I'm stealing plays. I'm stealing plans. I'm stealing how organizations operate. If somehow, some way, I got put in that position, which I would never be put in that position, and we did succeed, I would straight up come to that podium and say, hey, don't give me the credit. Give all these other organizations that's doing it the right way the credit because I stole from them. It is what it is. What they say, if it ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So somebody in the comments a couple weeks ago when I said, if the Cowboys won 6 Super Bowls or whatever it was, and a couple of them was controversial, I don't care. And you wouldn't either. Somebody said, I've lost all respect for this man. I want them the right way. See, y'all phony. Just say that. Sometimes I come out, hey, I'm phony, I'm biased. I keep it a bean. I'm not going to fake the funk. I don't care how it gets done. It needs to be done. So if I need to steal a coach or steal a play or a plan or how an organization operates, I'm doing it. Not here. We got to do it our way. I digress, man. No matter who the coach is, though, they're going to have to come in here and possibly revamp. I say possibly, depending on what they do with a certain player, depending on a couple other players may not be here when it's all said and done at the position. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I mean, just saying. But let's get into this hindsight real quick, y'all. Let's talk about this edge position. Just a quick precursor to the season, right? Like, coming into the season, I felt very strong about this position, right? Because last year, the Cowboys finished in the top 10 in sacks. In fact, they were number 3. A hell of pressures. They got a lot of pressures this year, too. But a lot of pressures, lots of forced fumbles. And it was truly one of the, I think, more feared position groups across the league. And you pair it with, you know, how McCarthy was dialing it up. And so I felt very good about the position moving forward in 2023. Even though last year we were talking about, hey, this might be the last year you have this group given, you know, free agency and whatnot. And then, you know, as the season went on, we kind of, if you didn't really pay attention to it, you kind of noticed it did not replicate the success that it had last year as a unit. But nonetheless, I'm actually going to flip it today because I think this pass rush unit, the edge rushers, the pass rush tone is set by their all-pro Micah Parsons, who's one of the few in the history of the game to go 3 straight years to start their career as an all-pro. But I think the big question, we could talk about the accolades, the success during the season and all that stuff, but we know what the big question is going to be. And it's what we talked about for like 2 years on this channel. Whoever this next defensive coordinator is, they're going to have to figure out where they want to play him and build around that accordingly. I think that last part's really the most important part. Where you play him is a big part, but building around that accordingly is huge. Because, you know, we talked about the linebacker position, right? Ad nauseum. Playing him back there at backer. If it's going to be backer, then you need to add more rushers. If it's going to be rusher, well, you need to add backers. But once again, if we're keeping it a bean, even if he's still going to be as an edge, you're going to need to add more edge rushers. Because you could potentially be losing 2 of these guys at free agency. You got an unknown guy in Junior Fehoko who we'll get to. An aging guy in D-Law. A wild card in Sam. If you lose the other 2 to free agency, you're still going to need to add rushers. And not just because of that. Say you run the whole damn unit back. Let's just talk about the unit as it was, I should say, in 2023. They finished outside the top 10 in sacks this year after being 3rd in 2022. They had one pass rusher with 50 or more pressures after having 3 last year. They only had 2 with 6 or more sacks, and we'll get to the guy that had the other, 6+ sack season. And when you reference that across the league, you look at other teams, right? This year that was successful rushing the passer and sacking the quarterback. Baltimore had 3 guys with 50+ pressures. KC had 3 guys with 8 or more sacks. Miami had 4 guys with 6 or more. Indy had 2 in double digits and 3 with 8 or more. The Jets, I thought we were rivaling the Jets front 7. Their front 7 was as a collective unit better. They had 3 guys with 50 or more pressures. And one of the things that is often brought up when surrounding Micah, and in 2022, It was 100% a thing. He even admitted to it. It's him getting worn down in the second half. 100% got him worn down in the second half of 2022. No doubt about it. Hence why he bulked up, right? To deal with more of being a primary rusher, defensive end in the league, as opposed to being 50-50 like in his rookie year for the most part. And you could argue it worked. He had more sacks in the second half of the season and more pressures than he did in 2022 in the second half of the season. And when you go look at his peers, because that's the other thing, right? We often focus on our guys, and I get it. Nobody's really looking at everybody else's team. I found this interesting because we often hear, oh man, he's worn down. I didn't necessarily see that this season. So I said, well, what about what's going on around the league? Like, how do these other guys do in the second half of the year, which is technically now not the last 9 games? Myles Garrett had 5 sacks and 47 pressures in the last 9 games. Bosa, 10 sacks, 51 pressures. This is all per PFF, by the way. TJ Watt, 10 sacks, 47 pressures. Max Crosby, 5 sacks and 41 pressures. I don't think anyone would say these guys wore down. Hell, Myles Garrett's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Is he the front runner? Who is it? Is it Myles? Is it TJ? I don't know. Micah had 8 sacks, 54 pressures. He led, this is the group he gets lumped into, right? These are elite guys at the position. He led them with 54 pressures and was second in sacks of these 5 guys. Mind you, there's a handful of blowouts mixed in between that where obviously a lot of these guys are going to play. Those 8 sacks in those last 9 games are more than Armstrong and D-Law combined in that same time period. And that's what I mean by no matter what you do with him, I feel like you're going to have to add to this room. Too often, he's your only guy with constant pressure. That can't be, I think, moving forward. I think you're going to have to address that, and we'll talk more about it with y'all. We'll talk more about it as we move forward. And that's with all due respect to this guy, Demarcus Lawrence. I think Demarcus Lawrence is one of the best glue guys in the league, man. I do. I think every team needs a D-Law. He's a throwback defensive end, plays with a nasty demeanor, a hot motor. You're veteran in the locker room. His calling card is being a menace in the ground game. He was second in the NFL in stop percentage at the position. And we saw how clutch he was, the last 2 seasons at the position. He came up big, a lot. But here's the thing. He's not the sack guy he once was. Pressure rate, that was better in 2023 than 2022. But he's not the sack guy, right? He once was. He's not the elite pressure guy that he once was, but he still can do the job well. But I don't expect him to be either moving forward. I don't expect that to just bounce back to 14 or whatever it was for D-Law. I think he'll still be a menace on the ground. I still think he'll, pressure the quarterback. He'll be able to slide inside if they want him to do that. But I am interested to see what the new defensive coordinator does with him, because he does a great job creating sacks. And that could be another reason why his sack numbers aren't as high. We'll see. Because we talk about Mike Zimmer, we've seen Mike Zimmer do some good things with a similar type of player in Everson Griffin, traditional left defensive end type, up there later in the career. He still was able to do some good things under Zim. And I do wonder, with this new defensive coordinator, potentially new defensive coordinator, do they cut it out with the stunts, the self-stunts? If you guys aren't aware, we talked about this, what was it, during the bye week? And I don't know if this kind of went under the rug here. but it was either Aiden Durde. I think it was Aiden Durde. He came out and he told us, which didn't surprise me when you look at the film, but when he told me, I'm like, now it makes sense. He told us that these guys, this room here, they have the ability to on the fly run stunts. And for 3 years, and I used to look at these stunts and I'm like, why is one guy running a stunt and the other guy's not? And I couldn't figure that out because with a stunt, it's usually, I mean, I could be wrong here, but I'll talk to some people if I need to. It's usually a called stunt. And we talked about this during the lead up to the Green Bay Packers game. I said, hey, if you watch the Green Bay Packers pass rush, they really don't get home as much on their own. You got Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith. I try. Look, he's not a pass rush savant, but when they stunt, they're all in unison. It looks like a called stunt, and I truly believe they don't have the same ability as the Cowboys players to just willy-nilly run a stunt. Whoever this new DC is, I hope we bring back more of traditional called plays and some fundamentals and whatnot, as opposed to what Dan Quinn was doing, because I don't think you need to have these guys up there like, hey, we just gonna call our own stunts. Now, did it work? I mean, sure, it probably worked from time to time, but there was also times where it's like, man, there's this gaping hole now because there's no stunt man coming around, or instead of just firing up field, the tackle stunted, but the end didn't. So now there's this easy pocket for the quarterback to step up, or the end stunted and the tackle didn't. So now you can just move to the left. Stop that. Give me a coordinator who is way more sound with these guys. You can say, well, Sky, that means they have trust in them up front. That's fine. But at some point, as a coach, you've got to have the ultimate say. You call the play and you get up to the line and two of the guys are like, yeah, we stunt, and the other guy's not. Next thing you know, huge hole. Y'all can't see, don't do that. I look over, I see the breaking news alarm thing, and I'm like, oh, we got breaking news, and talking about moving Emmanuel Forbes to linebacker. Come on, man, you almost got me. But y'all feel me though, Cowboys Nation, Bomb Squad? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of individual players calling stunts up front. Now, I'm not even a fan if they go back to the huddle and say, hey, so-and-so is playing me this way, let's run a stunt. I'd rather you go to the coach and say, hey, coach, the left tackle is playing me this way. The center is doing this. How about on the next third down, we can yada, yada, yada. And then as the game is going, they'll call that up. But I'm not for just every time they go out there, it's up to them if they want to run the stunt or not. That kind of bugged me a little bit. But I will say when they did so, D-Law was a guy who did it well, right? He helped a lot of guys get open per se for sacks, get open for tackles for loss. He finished the season with 50 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and 32 stops. He played a lot less snaps this year, and you can probably say that for a handful of these guys due to, and when I say these guys, I mean the whole entire team, due to the blowouts. He's a veteran. When it's a blowout, you're not going to keep D-Law out there. And one thing I do give him a lot of credit for is, D-Law is going to be available for you. There was a point in time where we were worried about D-Law's availability. And if you go back and look at his history, obviously the first 2 of his first 3 years, a lot of injuries. But after that, he's played at least 16 games every season except one. And that was the season he broke his foot in 2021. And he still came back and played well for you. So he's a glue guy to me, man. Probably the best motor, your best run defender, sets the edge very well. He's going to help these young guys, if you get any more young guys up in here. I'm a fan of D-Law returning. And if you're truly like in an all-in situation, I'd even argue if you wanted to open up more money, you can restructure his contract to open up more money to go spend. Because if he really all in, man, this is the year. I don't give a damn about 2024, 5 cap, 26 cap. All that will be taken care of when we get there. If you want to pour it all in right now. So I thought it was fitting to start with your two staples of the position, because after this it gets murky, and we'll get to that here in a second. Let's talk to James. I don't get a chance to talk to James too much because he out there driving truck. You gotta make sure he's safe. What's good, James?
Hey, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good, my good brother. How are you?
I can't complain, man. I'm listening to you. I've been listening to you since that Green Bay debacle, and this is really my first chance I've had to vent. And I'm not going to vent long. It was a sad game. This is my synopsis of the whole thing, right? Jerry talks about going all in, right?
Yeah.
My definition of going all in, and if he was to do this is when I would know that he is serious. If Jerry steps down as GM, Steven steps down as president of player personnel,
Facts.
they hire a GM that and allow them to run the team. Until they do that, man, I am not falling for it anymore. I really had my hopes up this season for something to happen, at least the NFC Championship game. But after this debacle, and I'm not going to blame the play on Jerry and Steven. But
no, they're not playing.
Right. But what I will blame on Jerry and Steven is the moves or the lack of moves that they made during the season that could have helped the team progress. The meddling of players that they decide they want to play or they decide that they do not want to play. This is where you need a competent GM to run the team. And Jerry, since Jimmy Johnson, you have not been a competent GM, and it is time for you to step down. So that is my definition of going all in. Until they do that, I'm always going to be a Cowboys fan till I die. I've been a Cowboys fan since 75. They can't take that away from me. I was here before Jerry was.
There we go.
But until I see that, the only way that they're going to win a Super Bowl or either get to the Super Bowl is if they have to succeed despite of. I've heard you say this before.
So many times, James.
And yeah, I mean plenty, And until they do that, or until the players do that, we're going to be 12-5, one and done, divisional playoff game done. It's going to be the same cycle over and over again.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you allowed me to get that off my chest. You're the first one that I've called into, and I listened to all of y'all. Man, you and Vosh had me cracking up yesterday, man. Man, no, actually, it was this morning on my way back from North Carolina.
Yeah, that was a
man,
good one.
y'all had me cracking up, man. I love that show, man.
Thank you,
Sky,
bro. We
I
appreciate
it. I appreciate it, and man, I'm plugged in, baby.
Yes, sir. My guy James,
right,
man. You be safe out there on the road.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Good call, man. And that's one thing I do have to realize is that I have to. I'm here, right after it's done, the game, and we moving, right? We moving. We have our emotional week, and that kind of is going to carry throughout these next few weeks and few months. But not everybody's doing it. Not everybody even wants to watch sports or listen to the show or whatever. So they're going to mourn how they need to mourn, and I understand that not everybody has called into the show and got it off their chest. But well put. If they want to make the all-in move, you're right. I mean, the all-in move is a step down. That's 100% a fact. I happened to listen to Sidebar. Was it Brad? Is it Brad Holmes, y'all? The general manager in Detroit. He brought smoke yesterday at his little press conference and was coming at the media and whatnot. That you just listen to Brad Holmes. That sounds like a guy who knows my job is on the line if I don't get it done. So when I do get it done, y'all gonna hear about it because y'all was talking shit. Shouts out to Brad Holmes, who put together a fantastic Detroit Lions team. His drafts have been great. His free agency signings have been great. Trades, all that stuff, man. And that's because what? He's a general manager that knows I got to get on this. I don't have the luxury to say, you know what? I can't be aggressive. We'll just kind of go along with the flow, status quo, because I'm never gonna get fired. That's not the case. And but y'all know this. The dude's never gonna completely step down. He was at the Senior Bowl with his binoculars and acting like he out here watching film. And if he is watching film, oh, please save us. But you know what I'm saying? Like, again, I ask, how many owners are at the Senior Bowl spilling their guts on the season? Like, when I say the season, I mean the off season. How many? I don't recall many. So I feel you, brother. And that's honestly how I actually have been operating for many years, is that, I discuss this team and move about with this team, trying to figure out solutions in spite of them. And that's just how it's always going to be. One more, 832, what's up?
Man, what's up, Sky?
Good morning.
Man, good man, cool, man. I know we as Cowboys fans, man, like it's easy to say get rid of Jerry. But we have to really realistically look at this organization. It's going to be run by Jones from here until kingdom come. They already setting the grandsons up to run the team. Stephen Jones' kid is the third string quarterback at Arkansas.
Stephen is a part of this too now. Joneses, let's just do that. Joneses, both plural.
Yeah, the Joneses both, because even the other kid's son is the athletic director at University of Texas. He's the one who scouted Overshawn, who's telling Jerry about Overshawn. So it's like we're going to have a Jones run this team until the end of time. So only thing we can hope for is, like you've been preaching, is that we find a coach who can come in and can circumvent that.
What's your name, bro?
This Dro.
Oh, this Dro? Come on, Dro. You ain't let me know this was Dro. Let me put you up here, Dro. So look, check this out. I'm not even opposed to a Jones running this thing, right? Because I feel like somebody like Charlotte will step back. Charlotte ain't trying to run day-to-day operations of football. So you know what Charlotte gonna do? She gonna say, okay, look, let's just play a game, right? Let's just pretend for some odd reason we living in this fantasy la-la land that Jerry and Steven no longer are running this team, and it's Charlotte. Charlotte likely is gonna say, okay, Will, here's your shot. We're gonna give you 3 to 5 years, whatever the contract is for these GMs. If it don't work out, I'm getting me another general manager in here to figure this thing out, because Charlotte's not attached to the football stuff. So she's going to hire somebody to be attached. So I'm not opposed to a Jones as long as the Jones says, here, general manager, here, head coach, put me together a championship organization while I go handle the real owner stuff, right? So if that's Charlotte, if that's Steven Jr., cool by me. Just get me somebody in here that's going to do that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, it's almost like they're not real human beings. Like, they're not above they're not above a reproach, right? They're not able to look themselves, at least Steven and Jerry aren't able to look themselves in the mirror and be like, you know what? Even though I'm brilliant at these 9 other things, this one thing right here, I'm not brilliant at.
Right.
So let's bring in somebody with some outside perspective to evaluate this, and hopefully we can get better.
Mm-hmm.
We're not good at second-round draft picks. Trade them. Get rid of them. We really haven't hired a coach since Jimmy. Hey, maybe we need to bring in an outside source that can bring in some new ideas and fresh perspectives on our coaching search.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man.
One last.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have one question, Sky. Why Leslie Frazier wasn't considered for the DC position, man?
Brother, he fits the criteria technically too, right? They're looking for a former head coach, tenured defensive coordinator. He fits the criteria. Maybe Leslie looked at this thing and didn't want to be it. I think, didn't he go to Seattle and he's like a consultant or something like that now? Maybe he was just like, of all the jobs left, Dallas wasn't one he wanted to come to. I'm not sure, man. I think more will come out, but Leslie Frazier was definitely at the top, one of the guys at the top of my list, because he's a tenured dude. I think he can come in here and operate with the talent that he has. But now I think he's in Seattle, right, y'all? I think he's in Seattle now. Not as a defense coordinator, but as like an assistant.
Hey, man, just want to say I love the show, man. And one last thing, man. Hey, while we talking about the draft, man, look out for Maris Leofold, linebacker from Notre Dame. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. And, man, don't y'all sleep on my boy Audric Estime, the running back, man. The dude, if you ever seen him, man, dude yoked, man. Dude look like Luke Cage, you know what I'm saying? and he could be every down, three down back, goal line, tough yards.
Isn't that the Notre Dame kid?
Yeah, Audric Estime. Big, swole brother.
Yeah. Good names. Those are good names right there.
What's that?
Those are good names right there, Joe.
Oh yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. Y'all love football, man. Love the Cowboys Nation, man. Just appreciate the show, man. Keep giving us this content, man, because I'm telling you, a week without you and Voch is like being in Cowboys desert, man. and I mean, no offense to any other content creator, but like a week without you and Voch, man, that's like I find myself watching old Super Bowls over again, man.
That's heavy right there, brother. Voch
in
the
chat
too.
Though.
Appreciate you, Joe.
What's up, man?
Hold on. Say it again. I muted you. Say it again.
Man, what's up, Voch, man? Luka Voch the enforcer, man. That's Luka Voch the enforcer, man. Anytime you need that O-line content, you need that real shit, man, hit up Luka Voch the enforcer, man.
Facts. One of the goats at this whole thing, man. Appreciate you, Joe. Look, we got the draft guru up in here. Leah Fowl? Did we talk about, or was that me and Foots that talked about it? Not sure, but he had a banger of a game, man. Was that the East-West Shrine, Professor O? That's Professor O's guy, too. I haven't made it all the way through the running back Dro talked about. I haven't even really touched that group. Only a handful of players kind of I talked about a few weeks ago. Not talked about, but I looked at a few weeks ago. But I'm going to get there. I promise y'all I'm going to get there. We got to get through this house cleaning first. But I know who's already there. My guy Voch and Brian Broadus on Fridays. Every Friday they're breaking down a different unit, and I get it. There's a draft show, fantastic by the way. Shouts out to 2i who was on the draft show. Got to press the button, and all the wonderful panelists on the draft show. But I feel like those are the two places you should be going at this moment. Foots is also including that. In regards to breaking down these guys, Tuck is also breaking down guys like crazy. So I'd recommend that at the moment. And then once we get into the nitty gritty of this thing, you'll start seeing the mock drafts coming out. You start seeing top fives of each position. Me and Foots is going to continue that process right now. He's probably traveling back from handling some family business, but we'll have him back on talking more draft. But we're just getting through the house cleaning right now, the Cowboys. All right, let's get back to the house cleaning. Talking about these edge rushers. Dorance Armstrong. He's constantly a very interesting case with this team, man. Because the last few years, he's been second on the team in total sacks, right? Everybody loves sacks. And he's been a guy that he's been available. He's doesn't really say much. He's playing inside, outside, moving him around. All these guys are pretty much moved around. Things that shouldn't be overlooked, though. However, I bet you, if you ask any non-Cowboys fan, and hell, some Cowboy fans too, because there's some fugazi ones out there. Who's second on the team in sacks? A lot of people would not say Dorance Armstrong. And it's not because he's bad or anything like that. But he can be a little bit of a forgettable player. Let's just be real. Like DA, you can forget all about DA until, oh snap, he got a sack. Look, it's not like he out there forcing a bunch of fumbles. He only got 3 of those in his 6-year career. He's not getting a ton of tackle for losses. He only had 7 last year. We ain't pressuring the hell out the quarterback. He was 5th of the top 5 guys. There's only 5 really rushers. Junior Fehoko don't count. He was 5th on the team in true pass set win percentage. So like, you're like, damn, he finished second on the team. He did. And it can be unforgettable a little bit. But that doesn't mean he didn't have some value, right? He was a really good special teams player for you, second on the team in sacks. And if I had to keep it a bean, I think he's had a very successful career as a 4th round pick in 2018. 100%. Jerry loves him too, by the way. So it would not surprise me if they look to bring him back. I would not rule it out if he's going to be cheap. And if you go look at the free agent market, there's a lot of pass rushers out there that might get some big money. Now, I don't know if it's going to be, ain't going to be no Von Miller money out there, but there's going to be a lot of pass rushers out there that's going to get some money, and he could be an attractive mid-level buy for some team. Now, if some team puts on the tape, they're going to be like, yeah, he's not going to be a tier 1 guy for me. I'm not paying him tier 1 money. But for some team that's looking for to add kind of maybe a 6-man to their rotation or something like that, I could see DA taking that bag unless the Cowboys give it to him. Now, I don't know DA personally. Maybe he's got some sentimental ties to Dallas and he'll take a discount. And I don't recommend any players doing that, but to stay in Dallas. But it won't shock me if Jerry made the pitch to do so. But for me personally, and this is going to go for, this entire room, I'm looking to continue to try to upgrade. I was going to save this for the end, but I'll say it right now. If there was a position to put some bread into, defensive end is a sneaky one. I'm not saying you got to pay Von Miller or nothing like that, but it's a very sneaky position to put some bread into because there's too many times where if it ain't 11, it really ain't much of anybody. Come on now. Come on now. I mean, we talked about the second halves of the season, right? And how, Mike had the 54 pressures and 8 sacks. That's more than D-Law and Armstrong combined, man. Those are your top 2 guys after Micah. That's one man. So I'm looking at the position. I'm looking to get a guy. I'm looking to get a guy. I'm not looking to get another Dorance Armstrong. I'm not saying DA is can't be for somebody. There's somebody for everybody. There's somebody for everybody. But if the Cowboys are, obviously Micah and D-Law are going to be back, but if Micah and D-Law are going to be your ends, I'm going to need another mother. You know what I mean? Because D-Law, I don't think he's going to recapture sack artist D-Law. And look, that he took the pay cut, whatever. He's more elite run guy, pressure guy, not sack artist. DA's not an elite run guy. DA's not an elite sack guy. He's a valuable special teams guy, valuable 6-man, no doubt about it. But he ain't a mother. So I'm looking for a mother. You know what I mean? Another team might not be looking for that. They might have 2, 3, 4 mother, and they say, hey, DA will be a fine guy in our rotation. So I think it's fair to say he's had a fantastic career. 4th round pick, 2nd contract. Was it 18 sacks or whatever it is over the last? I mean, look, that's nothing to scoff at for a guy of his ilk. But when you really break it all down, DA ain't a motherfucker. Y'all, come on, man. It takes me to Dante Fowler, who I believe is one of the more underrated 6-mans on this team. DA's the guy. He's technically the real 6-man, oppo of Micah and Demarcus. But Fowler, 8th season in the league, I think he's revived his career under Dan Quinn. He saw his snaps decrease this year. And again, I wonder if that had to do with a lot of the blowouts. He's a veteran guy. I ain't going to throw him out there. But his sack rate and his stops were on par with last year. And he had a higher pressure percentage. So he was still a productive guy given the snaps that he had. He was 3rd on the team in pass rush win percentage behind Micah and D-Law. PFF has this statistic they came up with called PRP. It's a formula that combines sacks, hits, and hurries relative to how many times they rush the passer. Micah was number 1 in the league. You know who was top 5, tied for 5th? Dante Fowler. Yeah. Fowler's biggest issues this year, though, was the penalties. That mother go off sides. Dante will go offsides. That was his problem. But he rectified the situation. They asked him about it because if you go look at the last 6 games, he had 0 penalties. And somebody asked him in the locker room, like, hey, what's been the difference between the turnaround? Because between week 1 and 13, he got 5 penalties and like almost all of them was offside. He said, I just started to take a full yard or full step back. That way I'm not leaning in offsides. And that's kind of been a problem with Dallas in general with our edge. We've way too many offsides. Way too many. But I'm a fan of Fowler as a pass rusher. I think Fowler is a low key a mother as a pass rusher. I do. I think he's a better pass rusher than DA. I said that 2 years ago when they brought him in here. You could argue he's not as versatile, and that's fair if you want to say that, where DA can move up and down the line, but Fowler can move. He's different versatile. He can put his hand in the dirt or stand up type of situation. That's his versatility superpower. However, I don't think Fowler is going to be back. I feel like he's going to follow Dan Quinn. He followed him here to Dallas. He followed him to Atlanta. It would not shock me if he follows him to Washington because Washington, they ain't got no pass rushers. They ain't got no pass rushers. They got new management. They got basketball dudes in there running the organization. And I don't think it'd be difficult for Fowler to actually get a mini bag. I'm not saying he's going to get, crazy bag, but I could easily see Dan Quinn going into the ownership and saying, hey, I trust this guy. This is one guy I trust. I scouted him at Florida. I signed him to a big contract in Atlanta. I brought him to Dallas, revived his career. We ain't got no pass rushers. His agent goes in there and says, y'all ain't got no pass rushers. I've got, they'll throw all the numbers. This is what they do when they go in there. Here's my guy. Bing, 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 bing. No offense to the new ownership. The only thing that might save no is they got that assistant general manager from San Fran. So that is a football guy. He might be like, look, I know what you're trying to do here, but I'm not paying Fowler the bag. You can bring him, but I'm not paying Fowler the bag. And I think he'll follow Dan. When we did our 16 free agents, he was a guy I wanted back. I really, truly did want to bring Dante Fowler back, but I don't think he's going to be back here. I think he's going to follow Dan Quinn. That takes us to our final 2 guys. Sam Williams. Oh, Sam. Sam, man. Sam, a.k.a. Slam Williams, second year out of Ole Miss, still a bit of a mystery. Not his talent. We know he's talented. He has all the measurables and the talent to be a force in this league. He got a bit of a screw loose up there, and I don't mind that on the field. We all want those crazed dogs on the field. The problem is sometimes that screw off the field comes into play. Sometimes that screw on the field comes into play with these penalties. Sam has 7 of them things, and over half of them was on special teams. And some of them were killer. I mean, in the playoff game, you had them pinned back inside, the 5, and you get the 15-yarder. Now they out there to 20 plus. Bills game, you had a block punt. I don't know how you missed that. Turn that into a penalty. They go down and score. It's like every time Sam got a penalty on special teams, it just completely erased the fact that he got a block punt in like week 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sam, if you're going to get a penalty, you got to make up for it with a spectacular play. You go look at his production, he played a little bit more snaps this year, but he kind of had almost an identical season across the board. Not really, not many more sacks, tackles for lost stops. Everything was very similar. The one statistic that was cut in half that you can argue, man, maybe that's a bit of a concern or noticeable, was his tackles for loss. He did drop that in half. He had 10 his rookie season, right? Playing barely any of the damn snaps. That went all the way down to 5. So that's what I meant by, look, if you're going to go out there getting all these penalties, you're going to be a knucklehead off the field. You're going to be out here promoting parties the day before a playoff game. Victory parties. And we ain't even took a snap. then damn it, you better be doing something on the field. That's all I'm saying. If I had to guess, I don't think he has the trust of the coaches. If you go look at the back half of the season, bro, he only played 20 or more snaps twice. And in both of those games, there were blowouts. It was Washington and the Giants. And then in the playoff game, Sam saw 8 snaps. Like there is a disconnect, sorry. There's a disconnect. There's something going on with Sam and the trust of that staff. This is a staff that drafted him. This is a staff that this is Dan Quinn. Went to Ole Miss, worked him out, fell in love with Sam. Barely playing. Free me, right? That was the thing he said on Twitter. Free me. Well, why are they not freeing you? You got the talent. What's the deal here? I don't got the answer, Sway. All I can tell you is what we see on Sam. And that's a guy that doesn't play that much. And then when he does get out there, there's a lot of penalties. So maybe year 3 with some more maturity, potentially a different scheme, a different coach, we can hone in on Sam's skills because he's skilled. He's talented, man. But I say this to y'all a lot of times. And I always bungle the damn quote. But it's something along the lines where like talent sets the floor, character sets the ceiling. I believe that, man. We all know people from where we from that's immensely talented, but ain't got it up here or don't got the work ethic or don't have the character to want to be great. Every single last one of us know people like that. And I'm not saying, I don't know Sam personally, but there's something, right? I think it's fair to say there's some maturity issues. We know he's been arrested a few times with the damn cars and whatnot. The coaches clearly don't trust him. So for Sam's sake, I do hope that, as in year 3, we get a more matured Sam Williams on and off the field. And I think that will elevate who he is as a player. But hey, wouldn't be shocked either if a new defense coordinator here say, hey, let's get him up out of here. We're good here. Which, if you wanted to throw that into the ring, you could say, well, DA and Dante Fowler, both unrestricted free agents. I think Dante's more likely to go. DA more likely to stay. But what if they both go? And what if you get a guy in here that says, Sam, I'm good, man. That's why this is a sneaky need in this room. And then there's Junior Fehoko, who didn't play at all, y'all. I mean, 2023 4th round pick. So it's not like, hey, 4th round pick, whatever. Nah, 4th round pick. I need my 4th round pick to do something. He didn't play at all. He was inactive to start the season, and they placed him on IR. Y'all know what they hit him with. They hit Junior with the, hey, Junior, your ankle hurt, right? Nah, coach, I'm great. He was. I'm fine. Nah, your ankle hurt. Oh, yeah, my ankle hurt. IR, boom, gone. Sent that man to the shadow realm of injured reserve. Hit him with the wink. Then they activated him, and he didn't sing a single snap. Now, when he was drafted, it was Coach Floyd who had an interview during draft day, and immediately he was like, hey, look, the plan right now is we're going to work him in as a defensive end, but year 2, we want to kind of move him in as a 3 tech. I'm going to bulk him up, put some weight on him, put him at 3 tech. Well, put him on IR. I wonder how much, if that started this year. But I asked somebody down there, I said, hey, where's Junior been, where's he been practicing at? Primarily been practicing that defensive end. And he'd get some reps, very minimal, at defensive tackle. But the dude barely could even practice, let alone play. Because when you're on IR, you can't practice. until you get that whole activation 21-day window. So we'll see what they do with Junior. This is a guy who came into San Jose State light, put on the weight to play defensive end, and now he's light to play defensive tackle. He's more of a left defensive end. I see him more as a left defensive end. I would just keep him at left defensive end. But if they decide to pack on some weight, he's going to have to get on the opposite of the Mozzie plan. They're going to have to put him on a plan where he's eating a lot. You know, he's a guy that's 265, 267. So you want to get him up to upwards of 290 if you're going to put him at defensive tackle, right? Minimum 290. You like to see your guys around 3. But Osa's different. Osa's just a compact, just a swole, and we'll get the defensive tackle. And he's like 285 or so. But if he can get up there, we're upwards of 280, 285, and maybe you see what's up. If not, I like Junior as a left defensive end. But he's a big old question mark. Big old question mark. We'll see what they do with him. I imagine he's going to be coming into rookie minicamp with the rest of the guys, and that'll tell us where they are working him. And again, just like a lot of these dudes, it will depend what the new defensive coordinator wants to do. That also is the issue, right? When you change philosophies and coordinators, maybe this new DC doesn't view Fehoko as a defensive tackle or defensive end, whichever they decide to do. Maybe they don't view Sam as a guy they can trust. Maybe they don't view Micah as an edge and view him as a linebacker. Maybe they don't view him as a linebacker. They view him as these things matter. So whoever this new DC is, when they're doing these interviews, I do think it's fair to say, hey, I'm not telling you to give me, the 100% rundown of what you're going to do, but I would like to know your thoughts on the room. Because for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's been, we've been a pretty respectable pass rush team and sometimes an elite one. But we saw that fall off. Like I said, when you go back to the top of the show, this was a team that started, 2022 as a top 10, number 3 in sacks. This year, if you go look, a lot of the, big pressure team. Facts, they were a big pressure team. But the sacks did decrease a lot. They went down to outside the top 10. And you go look at some of these other teams that had multiple guys with 6, 7, 8 sacks or more. And Dallas had 2 guys. And one guy with 50 or more pressures. So I do think it's a sneaky room that the Cowboys may have to address, whether that be draft, free agency. Again, if we're truly all in, I'd recommend going out into free agency. The Cowboys are likely going to be bargain shopping, but whatever they consider bargain shopping, I'd up that a little bit. I don't think they're going to sign anybody to any major contract, but if they're going to be all in, they're going to have to take that to one notch up. And there's some guys out there that one of my favorites out there as a potential mother as a 6th man is Bryce Huff. I think Bryce Huff would be fantastic. But we'll get into our free agent primer. I got you. Let's jump back to the phone lines, man. Let's talk to our guy VIP. What's good, VIP?
Sky is VIP. What up, baby?
What's happening? What's good with you?
Look, man. Look, I've been digesting everything that you've been talking about, and I love some flour. But what you said earlier is, I need to upgrade the whole room outside of D-Law and the Lions, other than 54, because Sam is he's still in our rook. I think Sam hasn't been coached up right. I mean, is it me? But how do you let a guy that runs a 4-4 and only time you're utilizing him is on a goddamn punt? Bro, like, we could do better. Is that the discipline of the coaching, or is that a combination of his discipline, Sky? What is it?
I think it may be a combination of both, but I just talked about it with Sam. I think there's a disconnect between him and the coach. I don't think they trust him.
Right. And that's why he shot that fire out earlier before the season, like, yo, y'all not even utilizing me. Free me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time they utilized him was on special teams. So I think you're right. It was a disconnect or was it trust issue? And this is why I was pushing back on the Bill Belichick and him making a big splash on defense. I need somebody that's going to hold these players accountable, the Lion included. I need a coach, a defensive coach, that if you walk to the sideline and you get an offsides, he's getting in your ass. There ain't no, he's not giving you the Jared, he's clapping you up. Nah, bro, I'm getting in your ass and you sitting down.
Mm-hmm. Zimmer.
We don't have that.
Mike Zimmer.
We don't even have a player to hold these dudes accountable. Other than D-Law, we don't really have no. And D-Law he's not even that dude that's going to get in somebody's face and pull that Troy Aikman like y'all playing like shit.
That ain't their responsibility, though. And I always, the Troy Aikman clip. Right. So the Troy Aikman clip is very interesting because that year we weren't good. People forget.
Yeah.
We were a bad team. So he's doing that because guess what? He even says it in the clip. We're the damn coaches. I shouldn't have to be the one doing this shit. Where are the coaches? So yeah, I agree. You know, we didn't. The guy who runs the defense, who's supposed to be everybody love, he's in the booth. He's in the booth,
and that's why I kind of. I mean, I don't know if Bill is going to take a step down and do that, but I want somebody that, even that dude from Tennessee, big homie. I need somebody when you come to the sideline, it's going to start some fear in you. I'm not going to smile at you. I'm going to get in your ass, so you're going to know I'm going to hold you accountable for every play.
Yeah, man. And some of these players need that. Some of these players want that. They need and want to be coached. Now, some of them in this new generation of players, some of them don't. They don't relate to that, right? That doesn't get to them, and that's where your people skills have to come in. You got to know how to maneuver. But I think this team could use a kick in the ass. I do.
Respectfully, yes, and that's what we need. So all that fluffy, all that, let's play nice. And respectfully, I'm gonna say something about Big Mike, our coach. Big Mike didn't give up 40 points on defense. So we could say what we want about Big Mike. We could bash him, make him his analytics and all that. He did not give up 40 points on defense.
I mean, bro, both sides were trash. Absolutely garbage.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And Mike is getting just as much smoke as the defense to me.
Yep, because his game plan and my whole thing is, we need a coach that knows how to counter punch. Our offense, our defensive coordinators don't know how to counter punch. If they get hit, it's just like they just stagnant and they stay in their way. There's no counter punch. There's no, okay, they did this. Let me run something different. And I don't want the defense. We're playing prevent 10 yards off the ball, and it's a 3rd and 2. Like, I just, the concepts it just don't align to me, bro. I don't know, man. I try not to get too caught up in it, but I definitely want a DQ that's going to hold people accountable. I need a defensive end. I don't want no goddamn hybrid. I don't want no more hybrid. I don't want nobody that's just specialized in rushing the quarterback. I need somebody. Obviously, we have a problem with the run, do we not?
Yeah, man.
So give me a D end that's going to play the run as well as he plays. I need a D end in the image of D Law, but it's going to give me like 9 sacks. Because the sacks that D. Armstrong got, that he got, 90% of those sacks was created by the Lion. Go back and look at it. Most of his sacks was created by the Lion. So those are sacks by default. And he doesn't play the run. So to me, that's a double edge. Like, nah, bro, I know you Jerry's boy, but nah, B.
Yeah, there's levels to stopping the run. It's not just about one defensive end. It's not going to happen. Because even if you have 2 D laws, you're still going to have issues if you don't prioritize it from a foundation standpoint. I don't think we prioritized it. We talked about it, right? Mike McCarthy talked about, hey, you gotta earn the right to rush the passer. But what did we do about it? We really didn't do much about it because you brought in these small linebackers. You brought back LVE. You don't have a scheme that prioritizes stopping the run. You got a scheme that lets these players have the ability to call their own plays at the line of scrimmage in the sense of stunts. We didn't have a solid base. So you could have threw in 2 D laws and we still would have had issues stopping the run because they didn't have a solid foundation. So that's why I think this new defensive coordinator needs to come in here and have a solid foundation. And I think everything will play out well because you have players. And if that D coordinator has a solid foundation, guess what? We're going to have real linebackers. We're going to have a real run scheme. We're not going to play this fugazi, hey, safety, the linebacker, you do this, you do that. We ain't going to be doing none of that stuff, man. All this cute stuff. They're going to have a foundation, and they're going to build off of that.
And that, see, right what you touched on, like, I did not realize that, but it explains, it opened my eyes to why we got fucking bats in the middle of our defense, because we got one player running a stunt, the next player running something else. No, but this is where the discipline comes in, because why we got those gaps in the 6 and the 7? Because these dudes running stunts to rush the quarterback, but you're not running stunts to stop the run. So I need that same energy, bro. That's all I'm saying, man. And I'm riding with you. I know, Sky. This off season is really it really tests me right here, because I got to sit here and listen to the Slurpees and listen to what like everybody wants to be Jerry. Like I don't even like Jerry to be Jerry. Just like that, Jerry do his thing, because we know he's not stepping down unless he fall down. We can get that out of our head. And like the last caller said, it'll be a Jones running this until the day we push on, and our kids will be pushing on through the same thing. So, in closing, I'm gonna say this: all I ask for in the off season is accountability, and that's all the way around. That's from the top to the bottom. So if you say you swinging for the fences, I don't want to hear the lip service, Jerry. I need to see it. I need your actions to align what you're talking about. Respectfully.
No, I feel you, bro. I feel you. I'm trying to find something. I hate to bring this back up, right? Because I'm gonna show this baldy thing. But hey, look, appreciate you, VIP.
Well, you know what it is, Sky. I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Don't push you.
No Slurpee season, B.
My guy, VIP, salute. I want to bring this back up, man. God, I hate to do it, but it kind of just goes to show you, man. There's not one answer for the front seven inconsistencies, or depending on who they play, run, pass. Sometimes in the pass too. There's not one answer. But Baldy broke it down. He showed it. And if you go back and watch it, you see, and you saw this throughout the year. Koye, broke it down a whole bunch. We showed some plays where, even when a Mozzie or a Hankins or a Mike or D-Law would create a lane, to attack, where the hell are these linebackers?
The Cowboys had a long talk with Mike McCarthy today. If you believe the reports, it could have been as long as 3 hours. They went through everything. So I was wondering what in the world their fascination is with Marquise Bell playing linebacker. Like, what is it? Because here comes Rasheed Walker, and this is what they do to middle linebackers that are 205 pounds in this league. Like, you just wash them up, play after. Why is he there on a goal line with that back, one of the elite backs in the league? What do they think Marquise Bell is going to do? Like, how can they think? Like, he's going to get exactly what he is. He's going to get mangled right there. He's not going to stop anybody. He's 205 pounds. Like, how in the world could you look at this and go, this is a good goal line defense? I like this. We'll put Hank on the nose, and we'll let Marquise Bell. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Of course he's going to score. He's going to score every time he gets the ball. Like, now you put J-Ron Curse up there. Here's your inside linebackers. 2 safeties playing linebacker. What do you think the Packers are going to do? Like, look at this. Like, they're just washing these guys up. Donovan Wilson's got to make the tackle 9 yards down the field. It's just amazing to me that you could stay in this defense with the team that runs the ball as well as the Packers with an elite back. What do you think is going to happen to Marquise right here? It's not his fault. Like, that's not his position. Of course he's going to end up on his belt. You watch these plays. Now their answer is, okay, we'll go blitz Micah in the A gap here, but we'll cover it right here. Like, this isn't, like, I don't know where he's going. He's not a middle linebacker. Like, you're just going to jump out of the hole, watch Curse. Like, all these guys are getting blocked and thumped. And there goes Aaron Jones. Like, I just don't know how you could look at that and look at these pictures and videos and everything you have and go, this is a good defense to get a team that can run the ball as well as they do with the back that has run for more yards in the last month than any back in the National Football League.
Baldy said, he's in the wrong gap. Yo, Baldy's commentary is legendary, man. All right, let's get a couple more. 903, what's up? Oh,
E.
There you go. Who's this? I'm sorry.
Hey, man, it's E.
It's E?
Yeah.
What's good, E?
Oh, man, just staying home with the kid today. Got the flu, watching a lot of Bluey.
Bluey? Is that like the new kid show?
Yeah, I got the kid playing it right now.
Yeah, see, I'm not hip on. I gotta get hip because I'm about to have a new one, and my other ones they older, so they don't watch like the little kid, little infant, little toddler stuff no more. So I gotta get hip again, man.
All right, but no, I started listening and I got to thinking. A few things were popping in my head about I can't remember. It's been a good while since the Cowboys actually said that they quote unquote went all in. But I think the last time they didn't they just really shit the bed on that?
You tell me. I don't recall the last time these guys went all in.
Well, it seems like I don't know if it was in the Wade years or in one of the first few years of the Clapper.
Oh,
but it seems like they just signed a bunch of.
They damn sure ain't go all in under Jason Garrett. I thought you was gonna go predated Jason Garrett there. They never did that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to say it was like they went and signed a bunch of free agents, and the next thing you know, they struggled to get like 4 or 5 wins. So it's not so much if they go get free agents; they always go get the wrong free agent sometimes when they get things like that.
Yeah, so I think when we say all in, we're not.
They've improved.
When we say all in, we're not saying go out and sign Cedric Thornton and Alfred Morris and Jeremy Mincey. Just sign it. They sign free agents every year. They sign bargain bin guys. That's not all. That's not all in. All in is growing some. And saying, you know what, we don't need this second or third round pick because we suck at them, but we don't need this for a rookie that we want to develop and hopefully by year 3 or 4 he's amazing. No, let's go get a proven veteran and bring him in here to help. Or hey, I know we don't spend more than $3 to $4 or $5 million guaranteed on a certain player, but let's go out and spend a couple extra bucks to go get this top of the line player to help here or there. Like that's what I mean by all in. All in to me is signing a bunch of bottom barrel free agents and staying put in your draft picks and just doing. That's not all in to me.
No, that's definitely not all in.
Yeah,
I mean. Because you'll see people that make the moves or teams that make the moves, and they'll say the hell with those picks or whatever and get what they need in.
Bro, the perfect team. If you want to talk about like all in, there's different levels, but that top tier level is the Rams. You want to go all in? That's what it looked like for real. But we not that ballsy. We ain't got it like that, man. I don't think they're gonna go that route.
No, because that won't keep selling popcorn after, if
it falls flat, right? Yeah,
is what they want to do. Yeah, but but my other question I've had is what's stopping, we've had multiple, the Cowboys have had multiple lame duck coaches. Well, not multiple, but they had. Well, Wade wouldn't do it because he just got set up by Garrett. But and even Garrett in his last year or. McCarthy maybe this year could do it. What's to stop them from just finally starting to expose what goes on behind the scenes with this team, to the media and just start putting a big spotlight on how they fuck everything up behind the scenes? I mean, if you're out, you're out. Why not?
Well, for
and if you win in spite of it,
for a guy like
and if you
Mike,
win in spite of it, team will.
For a guy like Mike, he's probably gonna look at them and be grateful. A lot of these guys really. Why would Garrett do that? Garrett's won Super Bowls with this team as a player. He's their stepson. He's never going to talk shit about the Joneses. They gave him 10 years? Are you kidding me? Or whatever it was.
Yeah.
What? Well, he got no room to talk. He can't say anything because he was on the team for damn near a decade when he shouldn't have been. They just gave him chance after chance after chance. So he's not going to say nothing. Yeah. Maybe an assistant, but assistant's not really trying to F up his, potential to be with another organization. You go out here and you become a rat. Why would somebody want to bring you into their organization?
Right. I mean, I understand all that, but at the same time, let's say you start calling out or say, "Hey, I'm not going to do it their way. I'm going to do it this way," and you start winning. Even if they fire you, then you'll definitely get another organization.
That's different. I thought you were asking how come none of these fired coaches have went to like the media and said this is how it's run. I mean, technically, Jimmy kind of did that, right? His books and whatnot. He talked about some of the things, but you're talking about this is what I've been saying. I've been saying the same thing. If I was a coach. And a good one at least. I would do the song and dance in the interview. Yeah, oh yeah, yep, blah 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 blah. As soon as I got hired, I don't give a f what you talking about. I'm doing this my way. Hey, Will, unless Will's scared, I don't give a damn what Steven and Jerry talking about. Go get me this player. This is what I want to do. Hey, I need to make this trade, right? But to see the thing is, McCarthy ain't doing it. McCarthy don't care about the personnel side of things. He gonna coach who he gonna coach, right? Who was the guy before? Jason Garrett? Give me a break. Jason Garrett ain't doing none of that. So they're strategic. They're hiring these dudes who they know won't question them, who they know won't give this confrontation. Because the last time they did that, Bill Parcells said, "I'm doing it my way." Jay said, "I ain't got a choice. You got the rings. You know what you're doing." And then eventually said, "I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines. Go get me T.O." And Bill said, "What? I told you I'm doing this my way, and since we're not doing it my way no more, see ya." And he was gone, and ever since, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, all dudes who are not going to push back on this organization. So they're very strategic in the guys they bring in because they know they're not going to give them no shit.
Right. I mean, and that's true. It's just Jerry's got to hire people that need him more than, anything else. He's got to have that. It just fills his ego. You're exactly right. Which
is why they got to step back. And I know we're just talking in circles here, but and get a Brad Holmes. Yeah. Get I don't care who it is at this point. I'd much rather go through phases of a potential GM doing this thing and failing than the current GM that has failed for 30 years, and every fan that doesn't have the ability to critical think keeps on saying it's one particular player or coach's fault. Y'all are being duped because Jerry Jones said it years ago. They asked him a question. Hey, if you were a general manager, would you still be employed? He said no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like name another general manager that's going to have a team that's, on the cusp and always fall short and still keep his job. I mean, eventually they would turn to the front office regardless.
Yeah. Or they would tell him, "Hey, it's flat out. This is your last chance. If you don't get this thing done, we're moving on from you." Nobody's telling him that. Nobody's telling Steven that. And Will got the most cushiest job in front office history. So it is what it is, bro.
Yeah. And in closing, I was going to say, here's the next thing is, regardless of who is the coach, why is there never an adjustment whenever they're behind? Ever. It's always that saying, we're going to keep going the same way and we've not adjusted, and then they're still getting exposed, just constantly getting exposed, and then they don't even fix it up weeks at a time. I mean, that's a coaching thing. So is it they just constantly hire bad coaches?
I mean, you could argue that. I mean, Jason Garrett was a bad coach. McCarthy wasn't. I don't think McCarthy's is a bad coach, but then once you get to the postseason, he kind of turns into one. I mean, you go look at his last 6 playoff losses. What are we doing here? But I'm not saying Dan's a bad coach. These guys aren't terrible coaches, but I can see if somebody wanted to say that based off of the results. And yeah, I don't. The game plans from those two coaches going into that game, inexcusable, fireable offenses. So yeah, I would have definitely moved on from them too. And given the way things are going to be at the top, what if anything changed? They probably just brought in Mike Zimmer to be head coach or something like that. I know I'm talking about Mike Zimmer, but maybe nothing changes. But yeah, at some point, and this is where it gets unfair, but it is what it is. Y'all know I've been saying this for years. At some point, the coaches and the players are going to have to overcome them. That's just the way it's going to have to be. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to win in spite of.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Well, y'all have a good one.
Thanks, brother. I mean, other organizations, even San Fran. The York family said, nah, we gonna do it my way. And it was like, oops. That don't work. My bad. That's on me. That's on me, city of San Francisco. I'm gonna go get me some real people out here and let them do their thing. The Bengals. Mike Brown. You know what? It's becoming a bit too much for me. Clearly, we ain't shit. Let me go ahead and fall back. Next thing you know, boom, look at the Bengals. Detroit finally came to their senses. Yeah. Imagine Jerry Jones giving himself an evaluation interview. Yeah, man. And there will be people who say, oh, well, we always put together good teams. But then y'all say, this is what I don't get. Y'all say, well, it's this player or it's this coach. And I'll say, well, who's hiring this coach? Who's signing said player or players? Y'all forget that part. Get to these super chats, man. Sin City, appreciate you.
Super chat.
He dropped one earlier and said, when does the question, how far can the GM take this team, come into play and not using players as a way of the bullshit they serving to the fans? Yeah, we just talked about that, Sin City. That's always been the question. Definitely, you know me here. You know, we talk about that a lot. But what I try to do during the regular season is, hey, this is what we rolling with. Let's get through this thing. Off season, no holds barred. I let y'all go because that's the time where you build that, right? That's where the foundation to get to where these teams are playing on Sunday begins, regardless of what Stephen Jones wants to say. Super Bowls are not won in what do you say? Super Bowl's not won in the offseason. Well, no shit, you can't play in the offseason, but you can damn sure start to build towards that. It is what it is, man. Sooner or later, you're gonna realize it ain't got shit to do with talent. Sooner or later, people will realize talent does not win Super Bowls all the time. Talent does not sustain success. It's not just talent. If that's the case, Cowboys would have had a bunch of them. You've always been talented. Goes way beyond that. But appreciate y'all for coming through as we review this 2023 Edge Rusher series. Breaking these guys down. It could look different though, y'all. This could be a position that could be overhauled next year, depending on what this new defensive coordinator will decide to do. Junior Fehoko, he may not be a part of nobody's plans as a defensive end. Sam, I'm pretty sure talent might get him another shot with a new DC. Plus, he's a second round pick, and guess what? Steven and Jerry, they gonna get these dudes a shot. You know, it took all the way to the end of year 3 for Boss Man Fat to move on. But if Sam don't get his shit together, they might. Dante Fowler, Dorance Armstrong, both free agents. You know, D-Law will be here. And what does the new DC do with Micah? Like, this is a very, very tricky position unit that could look different. It could look way different in 2023. Back on, I think. Oh, let me go check something real quick. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I believe back on later with Vot. So make sure y'all come through for that. Got a good one for y'all as always. And if you missed it, I forget which call. It was James who called in. If you missed the show yesterday, do yourself a favor, run that back. It's so I love that show, man. It's one of my favorite to do, and we got something cooking. That's beyond that. But classic yesterday. You never know when you get classics. They just happen. And that's when those are the most fun ones, when they just happen. So make sure y'all lock back in on the Vosh Lombardi live show. Mo will be back on for A to Z Sports Prime Time. Make sure y'all check him out and all of his fantastic articles. He took parts of the show yesterday, dropped an article. Make sure y'all check that out. He's doing some good numbers over there too. A to Z Sports Dallas.com, and come on through and support Mo later on. And then we'll be back here right tomorrow, breaking down. We're actually going to be finishing up the rest of the defensive positions. So we got safety, cornerback, defensive tackle left. And that's what we'll be focusing on tomorrow morning. With that said,
push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Big A, man. Hey, all I'm saying, if you watched the show yesterday, we not crazy to think that Big A, little mayonnaise. Thought we was about to get canceled, man. All right, we out of here. Love y'all. Peace.
Bomb Squad!